All right, so profitable food business ideas in 2023. And how do you start a food business in 2023, Damien, and actually make a profit? So, in this podcast, which we will upload onto our YouTube channel, I wanted to go over 10 specific things that you can do to start a food business in 2023, no matter the type of food business that you're actually going to start. If you're going to start a home based food business, then you want to watch this video. If you want to create a commercially produced, mass produced packaged food product, you want to watch this video from beginning to end. And if you want to do a food truck, what I'm going to cover specifically are 10 things that any and all food businesses need to do in order to be successful, especially in 2023. And I know many of you are probably watching this the first 5 seconds. You're thinking to yourself, well, Damien, you must be insane to think that you can actually still make money in 2023 selling food. Don't you see the cost of food in general, how it has increased and gone up? And ingredients have gone up as well. Well, yes, they have, but you can still be profitable. And it's still a great idea to start a food business. And right off the top of my head, the reason being is number one, everybody has to eat. Now, probably you've heard that a million times when you're trying to start a food business. People are like, "Hey, go for it," because everyone's going to eat. Every human being has to eat some type of food, whether or not. Number two, people give 60% of gifts that are given during the holiday season. We just came out of the holiday season. Did you know that 60% of gifts that are given are related to food in some way, shape, or form? Whether it's candy, whether it's a subscription box gift, whether it's a gourmet food item that's on Gold Belly, for instance, and you order that and it's overnighted in their Philly cheesesteaks from Philadelphia, whatever it may be, food in general is a hugely popular form and type of gift. Now, that is something that can go on year round. It's not just the holidays, anniversaries, birthdays, celebrations, work celebrations, corporate events, catering, weddings. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. And guess what? They are all revolving around some form of food. So, again, why would I want to start a food business in 2023? Those are some pretty concrete reasons why. All of those events still happen, no matter the cost of what food is. And it happens to be something that anyone who has an interest in a food processing, food making, recipes, cooking, baking, whatever it might be, even a chef might be low on hours, trying to figure out some way to make some money on the side. Starting a food business, no matter how the economy is totally recession proof. It is. You can Google it all day long on your laptop if you don't believe me. So let's dive right into it. I'm going to give you specifically these 10 things. And it's going to be kind of an outline, if you will. Follow me all the way to the end of the video, not because I want you to watch the entire video. I, of course, want you to watch the whole video. But you need to follow these specific things, these steps that I'm about to say. It's very, very important to understand how all of these affect, no matter the type of food business, they all come into play some way, shape, or form. Number one, you got to figure out what type of business you're going to have. So that really breaks down to, in my opinion, only 3 specific types. You have home-based food businesses, okay, under cottage food laws, as I talk about a lot about my videos here. Home-based food businesses, a commercial kitchen or commercially operated food business where you actually have a kitchen where you're producing a food product. It happens to be granola, it happens to be trail mixes, anything that's in a package, a bag, a can, if you're doing any type of thing that can sit on a shelf somewhere that is mass produced or produced in large batches or small batches in a commercial kitchen, those are packaged food products. So it's commercial, home, or a mobile food business of some kind. Food truck, a food cart, street food vendor. Those are really the 3 main types of businesses that you've got that are related to food. Even the street food trucks, for instance, even going into restaurants and going into those types of things, if you're looking to open up a small cafe, those are the 3 main ways that you can actually serve, make, or produce some type of a food product. So you need to figure out what type of one of those businesses you want to do. Right off the bat, the most least expensive is one to start at home. And there is a tremendous amount of food items and food products that you can make from home legally. And in many states, as you watch here on my channel, they don't even need permits. They don't need licenses. You don't need hardly anything legally from the legal standpoint to get up and running in most all these states. So it's from the home. If you're doing it from a commercial kitchen, that is the next most expensive to step up. Why? Because you have to either rent a commercial kitchen or you have to actually create a commercial kitchen. Now, I highly recommend that if you're just starting out, do not go out and create your own commercial kitchen. I, from my own experience, have done that, and I know what it costs to create a commercial kitchen. And you can do it for, on the low end, maybe 20, 15, 20 grand, give or take, depending on, of course, all the equipment and the tables that you buy and how you get them. You get used equipment and such, or it could go as high as 6 figures, 100,000 or more dollars. The next step up would obviously be a food truck. Now, I don't think of any food truck that you could start for on the minimum 30 or 40 grand, maybe less. I'd be kind of shocked if you could do the whole thing for less than that. But that's a pretty big investment into a business. So figure out what type of business that you have. It's going to fall in the bracket of one of those. Number 2, What type of food are you going to sell? So you want to figure out what type of food product are you going to sell, because that also will dictate the type of equipment, where you can sell it, how much you can sell it, and who you can sell it to, and so on and so on. So you want to figure out what type of food product you want to make. So if you're at home and you're wanting to create something that's in a package, obviously your package, box, bag, can, whatever it might be, that's going to be a packaged food product. Most of the time, you can create a multitude of these items from your home. Okay. And again, that's the most inexpensive method of starting a business. Next up would be a meal. So how is the meal being prepared? You want to do a meal prep business? You really can't do that from home. Again, you're going to be in a commercial setting, a commercial kitchen, or renting or buying or creating a commercial kitchen and doing meals, meal prep, pre-made meals, ghost kitchen, same concept. You're going to be in a commercial kitchen, but again, you're going to be creating meals. Those are not packaged food products. So now you see how I'm following all of these into categories. If you want to have if you're going to resell packaged food products, you can also do that, but you can't do it from home. If you're going to buy products in wholesale and just flip them online, you can do that, but you have to be in some type of commercial setting. You cannot do that from home. So if going back to the meals, you can either do meal prep, or if you're in a food truck or a cafe or restaurant, you're serving meals. Okay. So packaged food products, you can make most predominantly at home. Meals are going to be in some type of commercial setting, food truck, or even a commercial kitchen. And there's also licenses and permits we're going to get into in a minute in regards to those different types of categories. So again, falling into those three main ones. So number 3, license and permits. You need to find out specifically which one, permits and insurance, by the way, which of those you need and how does that work? Again, go into the 3 categories. From home, if you're going to get a permit in some states under cottage food laws, you will potentially need to get actually a permit or a license to do it. And that's fine. So you're going to need a permit or a license to operate from home. Now that normally, if you do have to pay for those don't normally cost any more than up to about $100. Okay. That's going to be something that's more, again, home-based, starting from a very low budget and very inexpensively. Okay. Permits, licenses. Do I need insurance, Damien, for a home-based business? I heard cottage food law doesn't require it. You're right. They don't. But I highly recommend that you do. And if you do get insurance for a home-based food business, annually, it's about $500 to $600 a year. Again, the lower end of the spectrum, not going to cost a lot of money, and you can start a food business from home and then grow it from there. Now, if you go into a commercial kitchen or a commercial type of production of a food product, this is where it gets a little more costly, because you're going to have a facility. You're going to have a permit, license, zoning issues that come up. Insurance is going to increase because you're probably going to have employees. Your state requires you to have some type of unemployment or employee insurance in case somebody gets hurt. You're also going to have packaged food product insurance, which is going to be product liability insurance, that type of thing. So this is where it becomes a little bit more of an investment and a little more costly to get into. Same thing goes for a food truck. You're going to have insurance for the food truck. You're going to have insurance for the employees if you have them or hire them. You're going to have product liability insurance. You may want to get insurance for the food truck itself, the equipment inside, all the tables, all of that stuff. You can also get insurance for that if vandalism happens or if you have a car accident with the food truck. So that's something you need to think about in regards to the insurances for those different categories. So keep that in mind as well. Now, permits and licenses, let's go back to them really quick because that's part of number 3, what we're talking about. You're going to need some type of permit or license if you're operating a commercial kitchen as well. Now, keep in mind, these are annual. These have to be renewed every year. So if it happens to be insurance, then permits, city or county licensing or business license, registration with your state. The city and county may also have additional registrations that would be required for permits and licenses. These have to be renewed every year. So then the expenses add up. But again, you're going from the most inexpensive way from home to a commercial setting, to a food truck or restaurant or cafe, the more expensive of the spectrum. Okay. Now, number 4 is funding. So Damien, obviously this is all going to somehow take some way, shape, or form. I have to spend money. So how do I find funding? No matter what type of food business you're going to open in 2023, you're going to have to spend money. No business can be started for free. That's insane. I've seen videos here on YouTube, by the way, that are just ridiculous to say that you can start any business with no money. That's absolute ignorance. So funding. So you can either use savings, family or friends you can go to bank loans, credit cards, or even private equity investors. Now, let's go through the whole spectrum of that really quick and understand which one really makes sense. If you're just starting a food business with no proof of concept, I do not recommend you cashing in 401ks, taking out home equity lines on your house. That is insanity. Or even use credit cards. Why, Damien? Why can't I tap into those existing funds if I have them? Well, because you don't have proof that it's going to work, and you could lose money, and you're still going to have the loan. If you take a home equity loan out, let's say you borrow $15,000 to start this business and the product doesn't do well, or you don't manage it properly. Guess what? The business closes, but you still have an outstanding debt that you took on to start the business. Doesn't make sense. Credit cards are insane. Even if you have perfect credit, maxing out a credit card is, again, like taking a loan. You don't have proof that it's going to work. So if it does not work, you've experimented with it and it doesn't work, you're still going to have a debt. And you're still going to owe people money, whether it's a bank or whoever it is. Now, what I recommend you do is maybe use some of your savings, maybe some money that you have put away for a rainy day type of thing, or family and friends. Okay, here's the reason why. Because if you can pitch it to family and friends and they say, hey, but mom and dad said that's great, try it, or your aunt, uncle, whoever it is in your family, or even a group of friends, then they'll try it out and they're going to give you a small amount of money. So if it doesn't work out, you're not in debt up to $100,000, $50,000, $60,000, or even more that has a interest on it. If you've got an interest rate on a loan for a project like this and it doesn't work out, you still have a lot of interest that's still accruing, or you have to pay. If you have family or friends and you're asking them, look, I can pay you back what I owe you, I'm not necessarily going to have any interest or anything, that's going to be a little less of a riskier situation financially, because you're not having to take on that additional interest. Okay. Now, if your family and friends actually request some type of interest, that's a totally different ballgame too. Now, private equity or bank loans. Well, how do I get a bank loan? The thing with a bank loan is that banks normally will not give a brand new startup with no proof of any sales at all or any type of income. They're not normally going to be up for giving somebody a loan because it's too risky. Okay. Again, no proof of concept. A banker is going to sit on the other side of the desk and look at your business plan and say, look, Damien, this sounds great, but you have no proof that it's going to even work. So I'm not going to give you $50,000. It's very difficult to have that done today. Private equity. So now down the road, though, if you start a business and you start selling, and little by little, even if it's about a year or two, or even 2 or 3 years into it, you're making a profit. You're turning it. Even if you're doing farmers market and you're selling out every time you go, and you've got a beautiful packaging, you've got a business plan, you really know your business. Private equity companies are people who will come in and give you a pretty decent amount of money. And what they're going to do is they're going to offer that money, not necessarily with interest, but as equity stake in the company itself. Do I recommend this? Yes and no. Yes, if you've got a hot selling item and you've got a lot of orders and you've got a lot of retailers that are interested and you have the potential to really capitalize on someone else's investment and you're willing to give up a portion of your business, then do it. That sounds great. Okay. But in the beginning, you're really going to have to show some really serious numbers, really good business plan, really good projections, a real good vision for your business before a private equity company comes in and says, hey, I'll give you $500,000 to create that snack business and take it to the stratosphere. Number 5, no matter the type of food business you're starting in 2023, this is one of the most crucial and very important aspects. A lot of people don't think about this, but perfecting your recipe and asking yourself, is my recipe, my actual recipes of what I'm making, if it's, again, packaged food product, if there are other meals, if it's a food truck menu, if it's a little cafe, are they scalable? Okay. And if they're not, make sure that they are. Before you dive into taking out big loans or investments or trying to scale a business, you really need to know, is your recipe scalable? And if you haven't done that yet, then that is something you need to do, because here's what happens. You're starting a food business from home. You have a single product and the recipe is easy for you to make. You can make it on your own and it creates a couple of dozen or so servings. So that's great. So if it's trail mix or whatever, or salsa or even hot sauce or meat jerky or whatever it is, and you can create that and you can make it into about a dozen bags. Well, what if somebody orders about 500 of them? Then what do? Then you have no idea how to scale that. So what's a really important thing is for you to sit down and create a scalable recipe of whatever it is you're doing, even if it's a food truck, right? Because here's the problem. Is if you have a food truck and you go and you have a menu of items and you have ingredients on hand and you're running out of those ingredients, or you don't have the ability or capacity to produce it in a larger scale, lines will line up, people won't get fed because you can't figure out how to scale the actual recipe. You can't mass produce the product quicker, faster, more efficiently, and keep it consistent along the way. If you can't scale a food item or food business, then you need to do that before you start, because it will happen. You need to know that if your product's going to sell well, can you go from making 12 bags to 12,000 bags? Or if you know how the capacity to create 1,200 bags or even 1,000 bags, whatever it is that you're creating, make sure that it's scalable and you know how many people you need. Okay, because if you rent a commercial kitchen, let's go to that second category there, a commercial kitchen, and you rent one, and you have to create 500 or 600 bags of a product or canned goods or whatever it may be. How many people are you going to need to have there? I couldn't make 500 bags of my trail mix at the same time. I would need people there. But in order to be profitable, how many people do you need? How long does it take to make? How fast can you make it? These are all questions that are wrapped around the idea of scaling. So 2023, any business that you're starting, if your business, you need to know how to scale the product. Number 6, marketing. So no matter who you are, again, starting from home, going to a commercial setting or a food truck, cafe, or restaurant, any of those and all of them have to be marketed. Just because you make it and you show up at a local farmer's market doesn't mean you're going to sell it. So marketing, social media, a website. You need to engage on social media. You can't just create some accounts and let it go by itself. Content creation, YouTube channel. Leverage YouTube. That's what we do for so many of our businesses that we have that are food related. YouTube has been a tremendous catalyst that has allowed us to scale many of the businesses that we do, including marketing food online here. So tap into short videos, even if it's you with your phone and you're going to an event. It doesn't matter. Videotape some farmers markets. Videotape you getting into a retail store. If you're in a food truck, videotape some testimonials from people eating your food at a food truck. Upload that onto Facebook, Instagram, etc., on LinkedIn even. No matter what, you need to market. Number 7, take into consideration the effects that this business will have on your lifestyle. When I started my business, I understood that it was going to take a lot of time out of me. So now I have my second child. We just had our second child, a daughter recently. So I have 2 children now. I have a home. I have 6 e-commerce businesses. We now operate 4 YouTube channels. We also have podcasts and blogs. So how do I manage all that? How does that affect my lifestyle? So if you're creating a home-based food business, it's going to affect your lifestyle, okay? You need to take that in consideration to figure that out. What's going to work for you and what doesn't work for you. Number 2 is, and even if you're a commercial kitchen, that's even more so, because then you're physically going to have to be at a commercial kitchen producing a product. You're going to have to rent a commercial kitchen, or if you're building a commercial kitchen, all of the time and effort and energy, that's going to affect your lifestyle. And food truck, restaurant, cafe, those are major time consumers. So keep in mind the fact that you have a lifestyle as it is right now. And if you're wanting to start a food business in 2023, how is that going to impact the life that you have and that you're living right now? That's very, very important. Number 8, you got to keep this in mind too, that if you are starting any of these 3 types of businesses in 2023, you need to have a logo, a brand. You need to have a vision for what you want it to look like. Do you have any type of slogan? Do you have a catchy catchphrase? Have you gotten a trademark for your logo? Have you figured out what type of brand you want it to be? Are you wanting to do a food truck and you're going to have a brand where you're going to create merch and you want to sell merch on the side as additional stream of income for your food truck? Are you going to start from home? Well, great. You're still going to need a brand. It's not really recommended to, like, if you're creating cookies or trail mixes or baked goods and throw them in a bag and put some cheesy label on it. You want it to look professional from day one. So figure out how your brand is going to look. Okay, that's something that's super important. Create a logo. If you can't create a logo, that actually brings me to number 9. You need to scale with help. Don't try to do all of this by yourself. Go to Upwork, get someone to create a logo for you. Go to Fiverr, creates a logo for you. Let someone on Fiverr create a brand image for you. If you're obviously good at making food, but you're not good at creating a brand, which I wasn't, I couldn't do all of that. I've been to Fiverr multiple times and used them for a ton of different things. Get someone to make a logo, understand your brand, and help you with that. If you're scaling it, don't try to rent a commercial kitchen, for instance, and not hire help because you think you can make 7,000 bags of whatever product that you're making. If you're starting a food truck business, when you first start, you're going to need some help. You by yourself, I've seen people burn out very quickly. You're going to burn out very, very rapidly if you do. Try to figure out if you have a husband, a wife, a cousin, a friend, a dad or a mom, someone who can help you along the way. If you're launching a food truck and you're going to a weekend event, have them come with you. Have somebody else or people around you help you along the way. Don't try to do all this by yourself. No matter if it's a home-based food business, you're still going to need some help. No matter if it's a commercial kitchen, like I just said, don't try to go at it and bring all the ingredients, the labels, the bottles, and everything to the place by yourself. Get some help to do it. Don't try to do this alone because you will quit, you will feel frustrated, you'll get burnt out, okay? There's a lot to do when you start a business. Trust me, 14 years ago when I took this dive into having my own small business, I learned, and I learned the hard way, but I learned along the way that this is not something you do by yourself. So those are the most important tips. Oh, number 10, just start. Actually, just get started. I know I mentioned that in a couple of videos before. I did some how-tos and steps and 10 steps of this and that. The most critical thing is just to get started. No matter where you are, no matter where it is, no matter what your budget is, however small the steps are, just get started, guys, because once you get the momentum going and you reach that first hurdle and you get through it, or the next step or the next rung, and you get up and up and up that ladder and you keep moving and moving forward, you're going to get excited. You get a momentum moving. And that is something that creates and separates people from actually who are doing the entrepreneur thing or people who are not doing the entrepreneur thing. So with that being said, that is my take on food business in 2023. If you're going to get started, how to start a food business in 2023, these are extremely crucial 9 questions, 9 things, 9 topics, whatever you want to label them, that pretty much a fit and adapt to any type of food business. And they're very important. So if you have started your food business last year in 2022, or you're going to get started this year, let us know down below in the comments. How's it going? What was the biggest hurdle? What was the biggest challenge for you? Also, check out these additional videos here. Will pop up here for other resources for your business. Check out our podcast too. We'll have some links down below. You can actually listen to us on the go. And I'll see you on our next video.